Hey guys, this is by request. A friend of mine wanted me to review this episode of Blackish, so here it goes. It's gonna be a quick review because I'm a little bit tired. I would like to go to bed soon, but I watched this episode and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was about a socio-political issue, feminism, and feminism and racism, white feminism versus black feminism, sometimes known as womanism, and different viewpoints of it. One viewpoint is that of rainbows, who who at first she thinks it's all the same. Like she's in lockstep with her white feminist friend Abby, and they're all upset about the 2016 election of Donald Trump and the defeat of Hillary Clinton. They're going to these pussy hat marches, and they're just doing their thing. And then she starts to realize, once she goes to the meeting with her daughter Diane, that maybe white feminists don't have the same agenda as black feminists, because one of the women at the meeting says, well, this is the worst thing that ever happened to women in the history of America. And as they bring up on the show, how can that be when slavery existed in America towards black women, and black women were raped during slavery and brutalized and abused during slavery? So how can the 2016 election of Donald Trump be the worst thing that ever happened to women in America? That's nonsense. On the other hand, though, Anthony Anderson's character Dre also faces a crisis, and his crisis is related to how he perceives his relationship to feminism as a man. He perceives chivalry, politeness to women, opening doors for women and stuff as good things, whereas feminists, especially third wave feminists, modern feminists, they tend to denounce that type of behavior as part of the patriarchy. The same thing when a man gives a woman a compliment. Oh, that's part of the patriarchy. And they want to abolish these sorts of interpersonal relations between men and women um, that have existed for centuries. So part of it is like his son, Junior, teaching him how to conduct himself in a so-called woke society with, uh, you know, by taking him to restaurants, telling him to not tell women to smile and stuff. And him and his father are just really struggling because the way they relate to women is totally different than how the millennial and Gen Z generation might perceive relations between the genders. So I really connected to that part because me as a heterosexual male who's interested in women, sometimes you feel kind of you don't want to approach them because you don't want to offend them, especially now with the Me Too movement at work. You're kind of walking on eggshells. You don't know what to say. They might be part of the woke SJW culture and they might get offended easily. And you don't know if some of those old flirtatious actions may work on them, or they may be repulsed by it. So that's very technically a reality. But one thing that Dre comes to a realization of later is that the blind spot that he has about gender is similar to the blind spot that many of his white co-workers have about race, and likewise, many of Bo, uh, white allies have about race too. They see themselves as the default category. So when a movement is about everybody, quote unquote, it's really about them. It's like when society talks about music, right? They'll say, well, a song crossed over into the mainstream from the R&B and hip hop charts, like Old Town Road, right? Recently. Well, what that means is that white people are listening to the song. White people are considered the mainstream of society, whereas Latinx or um, black people are considered the alternative, the minorities. So they don't perceive us immediately in the conversation. We're not even in the conversation. In fact, when they talked about the wage gap, they mentioned that yes, white women get paid less than white men, but black women get paid less than white women, and Latin women get paid less than all groups. Now, a lot of this has to do with what kinds of jobs they do, too. I mean, they didn't really go into that. It's not all based on discrimination. There are other factors at play as well, but it's definitely a reality, you know. Um, Not everything that is bad about feminism. Like a lot of people don't like. A lot of people take the position like Dre's mom, played by Jennifer Lewis, that they dislike everything about feminism because they perceive feminists to be bossy, to be man-like, to be wanting to usurp male male positions in society, being forceful, wanting to include themselves in everything, like creating a female Ghostbusters or whatever. I mean, that could be the case in some instances, but outside of Hollywood, in, in real life jobs, women are just fighting for equality, not superiority. So I understand in certain cases the frustration that certain men feel. Well, feminism has turned the world upside down. Certain women feel that way too. Like I said, like Dre's mom in the show, feminism turned the world upside down. But aside from all that political stuff, I enjoyed seeing the cast of Girlfriends come back to the show. Um, Bo then calls her friends back, and her friends are Persia White, Golden Brooks, and I forget the other girl's name that played Tony. And just seeing them back together, Girlfriends never had a proper series finale. So seeing the girls all back together on this show was kind of cool. And then towards the end, um, Dre makes a comment. What am I gonna do with these with these women? And who walks in but Reggie Hayes? And of course, Reggie Hayes is the actor who played um, William. And just seeing William, and it was just a really cool nostalgic moment. If you were a fan of Girlfriends, like I was a huge. I loved Tony on Girlfriends. Tony was my favorite one on Girlfriends. But I loved the show Girlfriends, and to see them all back together was cool. And like I said, to discuss the impact of third wave feminism on families and the different perspectives that people might have. The ones of the white women, the ones who were the majority of the pussy hats, the ones of people like Dre just struggling to understand the woke culture of today's society. Because even Junior on this show. He says, you know, even me, I got in trouble on Twitter because I was doing something in support of LGBTQ people, and I forgot to conclude intersexuals, and asexuals, and that are coming after me, and that has happened to me. I've made jokes on here and on Facebook and on social media, and the woke posse has come after me, and I'm an open-minded. I'm a progressive. I believe in these progressive values, but humor is humor, and sometimes people, even outside of humor, sometimes people mess up. Not everybody is perfect, so you have to give people a break. We're all adjusting to this new woke society, and we're all gonna mess up. Doesn't mean we're all need to be educated, as a lot of these SJWs always say. Oh, well, you need to educate yourself. you know, that's their favorite word. You need to educate yourself on feminism or transgenderism or whatever it is they're talking about. So I like once again, Blackish touches on something that you rarely ever hear about. And really, I feel clap back at white feminism and let people know that Harriet Tubman and Angela Davis. Find a restaurant and buy cheeseburger deluxe. Yeah, just as important as Gloria Steinem or Susan B. Anthony in feminism. Anyway, peace. I hope you enjoyed the review. Later. Good night.